What did Ken say to his mistress Keely when his wife Lorraine died?
I don't know.
I can see Keely now, Lorraine has gone. But more likely, I can see Keely now, Lorraine is gone. Hi, welcome to the best thing you watched this week. You got Chris from Movies and Munchies, myself, Ruben from the Ruby Tuesday. And before we start, I will carry on making Chris laugh. What do you call a man pouring water into a jug?
I don't know. What?
Phil. Why don't dinosaurs make good pets?
Because they're extinct?
Yeah, because they're dead. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, the first one's good, I think.
Yeah, I love the first one because I heard it in my head before you said it.
You could hear the song. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for joining us on the randomness of this. I hope you enjoyed those dad jokes. If you want to see what we get up into Patreon videos, we actually have dad jokes as one of our sequences and one of our movie quotes and movie pie in the faces. And we talk about all things movie. And this week, we're going to be talking about what, Chris?
Whether or not Robert Downey Jr. should return to the MCU in Secret Wars.
So we'd love you to join us there. That's going to be a fun one to talk about. We do have people supporting us, and you guys are amazing. Thank you for joining us every week. If this is your first week, welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you find something of an enjoyment to this. We have time codes in the description, so you can click, like, if you're like, oh, these guys are rambling on too long, fair enough. Click to the thing that you want to enjoy. We're going to be talking about those things that just happened this week that we've watched, or, you know, visually, whatever entertainment we want to talk about is the best thing that we watch, basically. That's what we're going to go for. And then in our podcast exclusive section, if you're listening to on the podcast as well, thank you. But in the podcast exclusive section, we're talking Twitter news. It tends to be Twitter, but it's entertainment news, where we grab our entertainment news from. And then we talk about the things that we're probably going to cover and what we're looking forward to entertainment-wise. That is a lot of an intro. But first, let's continue with the movie quote quiz. And who won last week, Chris?
I just had one correct guess, and that was from Nostromo, who got... The funny thing is, I've seen all these movies that you quoted, and yet none of them, especially with the rom-coms, that totally threw me up. Yeah. No. So we had Serendipity.
Yep.
Awesome movie. Love it.
Such a great film.
Yeah, it really is. Second one was Pretty Woman.
Yep.
Which is another good one. And then Watchmen.
Yeah.
So good job there. That's
Who watches The Watchmen? Nice. You know, I was doing a clip about Who Watches The Watchmen for one of my reviews, and I spent an hour trying to find that dialogue line. A few years ago, it was available on YouTube. Now it's nowhere to be found. There's all other manner of clips, but just not that one. But talking about movie clips.
Yes.
Should I do this
Stump
week?
Us. Yes, please bring it on.
A silly boy with a horse.
Oh, wait a minute.
I think you might know this one. It's one of my favorite films. It's just so fun to watch.
Give me the full quote, because I'm pretty sure
Okay. Better a silly girl with a flower than a silly boy with a horse and a stick. You know this.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Love it.
Cookie robots? I said cookie robots. I said cookie robots. Why? Why are you so old? I said cookie robots. Why? Why are you so old? I don't know why I use that voice. It's probably because I can't do that particular character's voice. The film is from 2010.
It's the why are you so old? I think is what's sticking with me, that I know it, and it's like,
what genre do you think it is?
I can't even remember. That's the thing, that it's it's like right there.
To help the listeners and the viewers and Chris, it's an animated film.
Yeah, I think that's still not hell, but I, yes, Yes.
You got it now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Nice. Yes.
Okay.
It just I had to have the inflection in my head.
Okay. And ahead of schedule, apologies for the profanity. Sick, twisted fuck.
No, I don't know.
Okay. Eat it till you choke, you sick, twisted fuck. One of the best.
Huh. No, I don't know.
A thriller horror. Yeah.
Okay.
It's great. It's great.
Nice.
Well,
let us know in the comments. Yes, I know the first two. So yay,
I think people
me.
might get this one. This is easier. So let us know and we'll shout you out next week.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sweet.
Do you have
a question?
Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
I do. Okay. So would you rather watch the tape from The Ring or read the book from The Babadook?
Oh, Flip, my wife and I were talking about the Babadook last night, and we resent you for ever putting us on the path of the Babadook, Chris. It was you that recommended. Now, every time I see it come up on like any streaming service, I'm like, nope, get that thing out of here. Genuinely one of the most terrifying films I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
I'd rather watch the Ring tape all day because I'd be like, I'll beat you down. I will get a cricket bat and I'll play zombies like they did in Shaun of the Dead. But the Babadook, no.
I completely agree. I'm right there with you. Yeah, no,
Okay.
the Babadook, that movie is one of the only ones that that bothers me, like really to my soul that I can't.
No.
Yeah, and it's so funny because it's one of my son's favorite films.
I get it. It's a great film.
Yeah, he sees the beauty in it, and from the story part, I'm still creeped out on it, and I can't get past that part of it. It's just.
Yeah, no, I don't like that. On the Babadook, A Tale of Curiosities with Guillermo del Toro.
Cabinet of Curiosities. Yes.
One of the directors is from the Babadook, one of the stories in that. Yeah.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah. Which makes me go, yeah, I want to watch that.
Do I?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, cool. Should we dive in?
Yeah. Oh, as a teaser too, just so everybody knows, we watched a horror movie that neither of us have seen again for the. That made no sense. We watched a horror movie for the first time. Neither of us had seen this movie, and so we watched it both, and we were almost watching it simultaneously, which was funny. So
that was fun.
Anyway,
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was actually pretty cool. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But first, Ruben, what's at the top of your list?
Okay, so I'm going to dive into what was the absolute best thing that I watched this week, and it's a film that comes out this week, so it's coming. But I watched it this week and the embargo lifted. And it's called, I'm just going to pull it up. I've clicked away on the page. It's called Wendell Wild. It's a stop motion adventure. It was movie night last night and I required my kids and my wife to sit down. I required their time. And you know what? We didn't look at our phones. Which is, in this day and age, it's a miracle.
Yeah.
So two scheming demon brothers, Wendell and Wild, enlist the aid of a 13-year-old Cat Elliot to summon them to the land of the living. And you just have to look at the voice cast. It's incredible. It's a really great voice cast. The thing about stop motion is it's always good. Like, generally when it's a film, you understand how long it takes them to make something like this. So you know that when someone decides to do a project that's stop motion, they've got talent and they've got patience. This is a project that's probably been going on for years. The thing about Wendell Wild is if you feel like they've taken everything they've learned about stop motion and then just double down and say, now look what we can do. Because you're going back to the days of like Nightmare Before Christmas, Coraline, Frankenweenie, which is awesome. There are so many great stop motion. In fact, Netflix has dropped one this week called Oni, Legends of the Thunder God Tale. And that was a mixture of stop motion and CG. It was a really nice collaboration, and it looked wonderful, and it was great. And I didn't think I was going to see any stop motion that was going to be better than that. And then we watched Wendell and Wild, and I thought, flipping heck, you know, when you utter words of like, "Damn, this is good," all of us were doing that throughout the film. We were just like, wow, look at that. Visually stunning, incredible to watch. But then you have a story that has so much heart to it. You have a kid who loses her parents. It's like a Disney movie, true Disney movie. No parents at the beginning. She gets thrown into the system. She goes to juvenile jail because she acts out, because she feels that she's responsible for the loss of her parents. And so that shapes the beginning of her life until she ends up basically in the same hometown where she left, where her parents died, in this orphanage Catholic church place where she finds out that she's different. And this is where her two demons come from. And then we see the realm of the supernatural mixing with the real world, and how that looks is incredible. I guarantee people will love this. Like, I think if you like stop motion, you'll love it. If you like good story that's heartfelt, you're gonna feel every bump, like every emotional beat. You're gonna like, oh, I felt that. I think everybody's gonna find something to really love about this film. And then at the end of the credits, if you do the film justice by watching a few of the credits, halfway in, it's like a reward for watching the credits, they start showing behind the scenes how they made it. Ooh. And so there's this quick clips that they show like how big the sets actually were, because stop motion you always think small, but they're getting bigger and bigger, the sets, because of some of the monsters that they had to create and the scale. So there's like a massive hand that they had to create before the characters that are, you know, this small. So you're starting to see some of it. So it goes, and then right at the end of the credits, there's a nice little stop motion bit for fans again that I've said. So do stay and enjoy the whole film, because it's worth every second. I feel like it's going to be up there with the Coralines and the Frankenweenies. Like, people who are like, this is going to be my go-to for Halloween. You know, night maybe before Christmas, you can watch on Halloween or Christmas. This could be a perfect Halloween. It's so good. Seriously. Like, this is 5-star. 5 Nicolas crazy cages all together. And it's perfect for the Halloween. And pretty risque. Like, it's quite dark in places, which I liked. It's pushing the boundaries of its age restriction, which is quite low. Probably a 13 for you, maybe a 12 for us. Mostly everybody will come around and really get a lot of fun out of this, except for the Bible Belt area, I think. Because, obviously dealing with demons and stuff.
Excuse me. Just not going to have that, huh?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm excited to see that. So that's coming out this week. That's outstanding. I think, you know, for me, the top thing. Well, I had a lot of things that were really good, but also very emotional. And I'm not sure I would go back to them, or you know, they just really affected me. You know, and this was actually a pretty heavy week for that, surprisingly. But the first was this movie. It came out this week in, I don't know if it's fully out yet or if it's just starting to roll out in theaters. It came out only in two theaters 2 weeks ago, but it's called Till. And it's based on the true story of Emmett Till, who was this boy in the 50s in the United States who went to visit his relatives in Mississippi. He lived in Chicago, but and he was accused by a lying white woman, which now we have the records that she was actually lying. And because she lied, he was lynched and murdered, beaten.
Yeah.
Just
horrific story. Yeah.
Terrible story. Yeah. And so it's tough going into the movie where you know that this is what it's going to be, but the movie is really focusing on the mom's point of view and what she goes through, how she determines, you know what, I'm going to use this and bring some attention to what's going on. And so she has an open casket to showcase just the horrificness of what happened to her son. Danielle Deadwyler, who is, she's the star. She plays the mom. And she is absolutely phenomenal in this. I mean, she really is. We see the movie starts out with her singing and joyous, and then it's like there's this foreshadowing that happens throughout it that like she has this feeling of something not right, and so you see it in her eyes, and it just all of a sudden from joy to like a sadness or a fear or something that goes, and she captures it so well. I mean, just it immersive to watch, hard to watch also. I when we went the screening that we were at, we were in the minority. It was mostly African American black audience, and afterwards I had a conversation with a couple of older black women, and we were just talking about it because I wanted to hear their perspective. What is it? Did you like this? Did it capture it? How did it make you feel and everything? And they had said, a lot of our friends didn't want to come because they just thought it was going to be over dramatized, that it was going to make them angry. Yeah. And they said, I'm not angry. I'm glad that this, sees this. And I look at her and I said, how are you not angry? I am angry because there's the court scene that we get within this. And we know, I mean, because this is historical, we know that the men don't get justice who did this. The woman who lied to cause it to happen nothing happened to them. So there's a great deal of injustice that happens there. And I mean, it's captured. It is just like blood boiling. And I mean, I told my wife afterwards, which I probably shouldn't have said out loud, and I probably shouldn't say out loud now, but I've never wanted to see a building full of white people burn so quickly as the courtroom, because it was just nothing but bigots and just, yeah.
And there's so many of those stories as well. This is just one of many. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the good thing is, I mean, okay, so first off, it's a powerful movie and it's amazing to watch. And the acting is outstanding. The filmmaking itself is really good. I mean, it's beautiful to look at. It's immersive at times. The cinematography, especially where to capture the emotion and to really put us into that space with them. I mean, it places us right there so that you cannot help but feel the emotions that the characters are feeling. But it's also, it does provide not a hope necessarily, but I don't know. It's a perspective, and it hopefully causes pause for some, especially because some of this still is happening today. I mean, I think about, mid-pandemic in New York City, I think it was, where this white woman lied about this black guy attacking her. Full on, just fully lied. That's
quite recent, isn't it?
Yeah. That was in like 2020 or 2021. And holy freaking crap. Anyway. So it is relevant. It holds that, but it's still from a filmmaking standpoint and everything, totally worth watching. I mean, it's tough to watch.
Is this the Whoopi Goldberg film?
Well, she is in it. Yes. Yeah, she was in it, which was great to see her also. At first, I didn't recognize her, but it was the voice. And I went, oh, wait a minute. Is that Whoopi? Oh, it is. And totally worth seeing. Very important movie, but will also probably wreck you.
This isn't on my rush out to watch movie at the cinema. I would watch it on streaming from the comfort of my own home, where I can weep my eyes out and be angry and scream into a pillow, and then kind of watch. I guess you can see. This is an interesting question, actually. I'm always teetering on the do I now go and watch something that's going to lighten my mood, or do I let the movie's voice of what it was trying to tell me sit and stew and make me think for a while longer? And I guess it depends on the movie. If it's a movie like this, maybe you do want to think about it and actually let it affect you. If it's a horror that's so dark and depressing that doesn't have a fun, happy ending, perhaps The Simpsons will suffice.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, and that's a great juxtaposition. Also, that what I mean. If it's meant to make me think, then maybe I ponder it for a while. If it was just meant to scare the crap out of me and I can't go to sleep, then I'll watch something light and, to distract me from that and be good to go.
Yeah. Yeah, good. I've seen a lot of. I've seen very few negative, and I think that the negative stuff is obviously from the people that are racist, and unfortunately, that's still around.
Yeah.
But mostly, I think people are just saying this is an incredible story, well filmed, well edited, well acted, and a story that needs to be told still. So yeah. Oh well. I was gonna say well done for watching it, but yeah, maybe was it hard to get through?
It like I wasn't looking forward to going into it because I knew what the story was.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's hard to get excited about a story where you know that a child is just destroyed. So,
Okay. I'm going to move on. Is that all right?
okay, yes, please.
Cool.
Yes.
So, I've been getting back into Cyberpunk 2077, the game. I gave it.
Yes.
I finally finished the story, and it was okay. It was better than it was better than what it started out. And in the end, I like the characters. To say that I didn't have glitches would be a lie, because that game is still very broken. It's very, very broken, but it was amusing me. So anyway, this enabled me to play the next game that I was waiting for, because most of the games I choose to play are story based. Like we're talking like The Last of Us. It's just you get to experience being the hero or the villain, or a horror story, and you get through it. And you can normally play them quite short because story games are much shorter. They're harder to produce and make. So there's a sequel to a game that just came out on Friday, and I've played. So Friday, a few days ago, I played. There's 17 chapters. I've played about half of it. And dude, it's when the first game came out, it was my game of the year because of the story. And this is looking like it might be my game of the year again. But to say it's a game, it's more an experience. You get to go on a harrowing journey. Okay, so it's called A Plague Tale Requiem. And here is the synopsis. After escaping their devastated homeland, Amika and Hugo travel far south. There they attempt to start a new life and control Hugo's curse. But when Hugo's powers reawaken, death and destruction return in a flood of devouring rats.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah. Have you ever read the James Herbert trilogy, Rats, Domain, any of those?
No.
No. Okay, so as a young man, I used to read quite a bit of horror, and there's this trilogy about rats that scared the living poop out of me. And ever since then, I've been kind of fascinated with rats, and was scared the crap out of when my brother got 2 pet rats and didn't trust them at all. And now we have a game that there is a curse, without going into like too many spoilers. There's a boy that is cursed with a disease that when he falls asleep or has nightmares, these rats go mental and they eat everybody so they spread the disease. Like it's set during the plague time, so it's like the Pied Piper sort of story. The thing is, in the first game, he gets so overwhelmed, or it's really not doing it justice. To be able to explain it, you kind of have to watch some of the gameplay. You are normally playing as the sister who's the protector of the young brother, trying to get get through the city of rats. And the only way to escape them or survive them is to use fire or the very small weaponry that you have at your arsenal. So you have like a slingshot to take guards of the city down. You eventually get a knife, and that is all kind of the first game, is you trying to get your brother from A to B to get someone to help him with this curse that he has. And you are running away, I was going to say from the Illuminati, but it was the Inquisition. Are chasing
that's
you.
Even worse.
Yeah, way worse. And they are deadly and horrible. It's a lot of stealth gaming, running around bushes and stuff. But in amongst that is the story of brother and sister trying to look after each other. The brother dying from a curse, but as he has nightmares, he destroys the places without no control. And when we're not talking about a few rats. We're talking about hordes. Like think World War Z. That amount, and then just pouring down the city. Like it would reach so high that it would reach up to like the rooftops, like just that much. So they come over you in swarms. Eventually, like there's parts in the game where they they spin, and they
Like a
make
cyclone.
like a rat-nado. But the story is phenomenal. So here we are with PS5 graphics and a bigger budget, more money, more of a longer story, harrowing journey. You have a couple of friends that come back, but you're still trying to justify all the people that you have to kill as a sister to protect your brother, and your brother is wiping people out. You want to save him, but when he goes into, he's like has a nightmare and the rats manifest themselves. It's crazy. Here's the twisty plot though. When the brother is more infected with his curse, you begin to be able to control the hordes of rats.
Ooh.
So then you are like the snake carpet and going around devouring the guards. And there's this moral implication that the game plays a lot with, is like, should I kill this person or I can let them live? And it really plays that with the dialogue, as there's like some other people like, stop that, you didn't have to kill that person. And be like, yeah, but look how evil. And so the justification of you killing all these guards and stuff. Great story. It looks phenomenal. The lighting, the fire, your fire is always, or light is always your friend. You like rushing to the torches, trying to stay within the light as the rats like stop, because there's a barrier of light and they literally stop. Wherever there's shadows, as soon as you step into the shadow, they kill you. And so you have to use the mechanics of fire, lighting up bits of the way, torches, throwing torches to light braziers, using little fire bombs, all that kind of thing to try and navigate to your next thing, navigate around the guards, and then actually survive and maybe help your brother who, can he survive this curse? Who knows? But it's so good. Like, thoroughly enjoying it. Talking about being the hero and being tense all the time.
Oh, that sounds cool. It just came out, you said?
Literally just came out. Yeah, this week.
Nice. Right on. And it's called The Plague Tale, or A Plague Tale Requiem.
Mm-hmm. It's the sequel. I highly recommend, if you haven't played the first one, and do it. You'll get through it really quickly. Play it just on story mode. You don't need to like challenge yourself. Just there's enough challenging puzzles. The story will 100% grip you from the beginning. Like literally, first few minutes, you're like, oh, this is so lovely. And then hordes of rats, and oh crap, what is happening? Like nightmare mode engaged.
Is it just a PlayStation exclusive, or is it multi-platform?
No, I think it's multi-platform. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
PC, Xbox. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, there you go. If you enjoy horror games and stories, and rats.
Rats with red eyes.
I'm okay with the little rats, but the
no, these aren't friendly. You can't play with these guys.
Yeah, no, yeah. Oh, all right. Moving on. You watched this also. You've seen more of the series than I have, but the first episode dropped this week. It is a weekly episodic sci-fi show on Amazon Prime called The Peripheral. And it stars Chloe Grace Moretz and Jack Rayner, and it involves a gamer but we're in near future.
Yeah.
And tech is different. People have implants, which I loved the inclusion of that. Like soldiers in one's excuse me. We see soldiers that have an implant, and what that allows them to do is them to sync up so that they fight as one simultaneous unit, so that they can see what others see.
That's so cool.
The concept of this is really neat. And it's near future, so it's, they don't have to change much. Cars still look like, the cars that they're driving and everything like that we have now, just with some extra tech there. But there's a VR game that Chloe Grace Moretz goes into, and she's testing it out. And you get paid for testing out video games, which is a thing now.
It's a thing now. And my son gets paid. Yeah.
I think that's a great gig. If you can get that, then that is awesome. Well, so she does this, but it's a different type of setup. And so she puts on this headset and kind of jacks in there, and it becomes a little bit like Tron, like Lawnmower Man almost, just, I don't know. She's the VR world is very real to her. And she sees something that she shouldn't have while testing it out. And now people are after her. But it's having ramifications in her world, in the real life world. And there were, I mean, I've only seen the first 3 episodes, so I know kind of where it's going or where it's beginning to go. But I'm hooked in it because it just, the world building that we have, both in the her time, but then also the VR world. I'm going to call it the VR world. That's the easiest way to do it. It reminds me, and I don't know if it reminded you or not, but it reminded me a little bit of Fringe when they would
I can see
visit
that
the alternate world there a little bit. You know, I mean, that's not what this is. I don't want anybody to think that, but it was just kind of that feeling that I get because we see in this VR world, we see, did you hear that? My computer beeped and I think it may have.
Oh, no, I didn't hear that.
Oh, that's good. Okay. Sometimes the audio goes right through. But so it takes, the VR world is in London. And so it's London like we're used to seeing, except in addition, there's these massive mechanical statue type of things that at this point, I don't know what they're really for, but they're just menacing looking and they tower over the city all over the place. And so it's a great visual. I love the aesthetic that they're creating in this. And there's a good mystery that's building, at least in the first couple of episodes there. You know, there's some action with it. And how much did you enjoy this, what you've seen of it?
Loved it. Like,
okay.
all of it that I've seen it, I loved it. So far as I can see, the people have read the book. There's a bit, I guess it's about half. There's a lot of people that have read the book and gone, yeah, this is a great adaptation. There's a lot of people that read the book and gone, yeah, this is crap. What are you talking about? So it's always the way. But fine, whatever it takes your fancy. I haven't read the book. I've now put it on my list because it's that good. I'm like, I want to know what I missed. And sometimes your mind fills in the gaps, or, you know, they'll never be able to put everything in. That's just the nature. You can't do it. You take it, you adapt it. Basically, they're all adaptations. You know, they're not going to be exactly true. They're going to do is what they can. But I equate this to being like The Matrix, Upload, and Tron kind of smushed together. And I loved it. The thing is, though, and I don't understand why they did this. Even in the synopsis in IMDb and Amazon, their synopsis, they give away a big plot point. And you've done a great job at not talking about that because you VR world, right?
Yeah.
But they just spoil it. And I'm like, that's a big reveal. And I think a lot of people are going to have some of that mystery taken away from them because they're like, because it was for me, like, I knew something wasn't right and I was thinking about what it could be. But then when I get it, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. But also, like, wow. And you're spoiling that for a bit. I don't know. Some people need a slap because it's a thing that they think that is the draw for people, but it's the mystery that's the draw. And the quality of the show, it's great. I like Chloe Grace Moretz, but I think I was drawn more to the brother at first because he has a better backstory. Just from his military days, there's a scene where he's like, she's watching him through the window, and you can see some stuff that's going on with him. And I'm like, just took one scene, and I'm all like, I get it. Okay, now I know why he is the way he is. Yeah, it just fixes. And I needed more of that because for me, Chloe Grace Moretz kind of, her character felt like she was good at everything. Like everything she put her mind, she's just great. And like, I don't like people like that. I root for the underdog. And she didn't kind of feel like the only underdog thing was their kind of family unit in their situation. It reminded me a little bit of, what's that? I love the book and I love the movie where it's also all VR. Ah, man, the whole world is VR. The Ready Player One. Right.
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's like they're all in this rundown place, but how we talk to each other now is through VR and technology. And it felt a little bit like early Oasis technology. You could equate it to that. I love how tangible it felt. And I think that comes down to the time spent in the world, like what they've built. So you get little bits of real world technology or fake real world technology that they've thought about. Like you walk into a room, you get the trailer, but then you see little bits of technology that's integrated, like, you know, the stuff on the back, like you mentioned, or where she works. That's like just a normal job, you know, that kind of stuff. It just feels like it's real. And that for me made it more tangible. It's for me to care. I'm hoping this gets more seasons because its quality is very good. Oh, negativity, kind of. The theme. Why have we brought the bombs back? In the theme tune, it's just bomb. It's the Hans Zimmer's bomb. I was just like, no, we got away from it with Inception and The Dark Knight and all the Transformers movie, but no, boom, yeah.
That's right. I did remember that standing out. Yeah, that it's kind of that. What is it? It's not quite dystopian, but. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
It was just funny. It's like, oh, no, we haven't escaped it. It's back.
It's back.
Yeah.
Oh, funny.
But other than that, I think is it Lorne Balfe again?
Oh, it might be. I don't know.
I'll have to check, but it's a damn good score as well. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah. Oh, is it me again?
It is you again.
It's like, I was going to say, it's that King Julian. Who's still talking? Oh, it's me. It's me. This isn't the best thing I watched, but I did want to touch on it because it's the biggest movie
this is
of the
becoming
week.
A theme.
It is, yeah. But should we talk a bit about Black Adam for a couple of minutes?
Sure, yeah. What did you want to talk about?
I enjoyed it. It was all right.
It was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was. It had. I mean, like, it was funny because in my review, it was like I was listing all of these negatives, but it was like but I still, like, I walked out and it was like, that was a fun movie. It was, it's not terrible by any means.
It's not the worst of the DC movies, I don't think.
No, there were points in it that I felt were lacking or that were really weak. And I was kind of questioning why they would include some of this or why they didn't do certain things, I mean, I think
there's an R-rated movie. I think people were talking about how the studio shut them down from doing R-rated. So there's a much darker version. Yeah. And I think it might have been really good with some gore and blood and guts because it would have given it more meat. Excuse the pun. Because I think there's too much action because we don't get enough time with our characters. The film works the best when we've slowed down and we're spending time with the Justice Society. Those little moments in the cockpit when they're bantering or getting to know each other, I thought those were brilliant. Really, really enjoyed those. I thought, yeah, we needed more of that. Pierce Brosnan, could watch him all day as Fate. It was so good. The Rock does what The Rock does. I think he's a good Black Adam, and I think he does it like very stoic and quiet. But again, the quiet moments with him were better than the action-heavy stuff. I just don't think they gave us enough time, backstory to care about the character. So when we got the big action stuff, we're like, yeah. There was like it was doing everything right, and then they would do a bunch of stuff wrong, and it was doing everything right, and they would do a bunch of stuff wrong, and I'm like, I'm like this,
yeah. Well, and see, the whole Justice Society, like, as somebody who doesn't read the comics, these are complete strangers to me.
Yeah,
and so
they all deserve origin films as well.
Well, and I needed a little bit more on them. Like there was, my son and I were talking about this when we came out of it. The beginning where we meet Cyclone as she's riding her bike in, we're told that she has like this monster IQ, that she's just super smart. We never really see that play out. There's a scene in the middle of the movie where she's caring for somebody, and the dialogue talks about a trait that she has and her smarts, but it's already happened. and it didn't. It literally felt like part of the scene had been removed, and we were only getting the last part of that. And I'm like, wait, what are you talking about?
We got one bit where he said, well, that I literally just witnessed a miracle because she was using the nanobots to do something.
Yeah, that's the scene I'm talking about, though.
Oh, that's the scene. We didn't get to see it. It was kind of done.
Well, yeah, and it felt like part of this had been missing. And I understand. I mean, I get the concept of, okay, you've talked about nanobots, but we haven't seen you use your smarts at all. You know, so you say you made a point of talking about how intelligent she is. Okay, awesome. I'm on board. I want to see how you're going to use this and what that's going to do. You know, and to just have a little scene there that then talks about that, and then they drop the whole bit on her origin, and then it is never addressed again.
Yeah, and that was super dark. As I was like, that's an origin I want to know about. Sounds great. Go there.
Yeah.
Give me a flashback.
Yeah, so all of them, I mean, there's just the thing, like, well, and even Atom Smasher, I mean, first off, that it don't want to give spoilers. Just how is he, Atom Smasher? I don't know. There were parts of this that just, like you said, it was up and down, up and down, up and down. I'm like, yay, I'm having a lot of fun. Oh, no, okay, what's going on here?
I'm glad it's going the way it's going, and I think they're really doing their hardest now to have an aim, and you know, so we've had Henry Cavill and Dwayne Johnson. They sit down and they're talking. He's talking to James Gunn. It seems like Dwayne Johnson is trying to be like the helmsman of steering the ship of the future of DC, which is great. I think it needs a helmsman. I think he's even spoken to Kevin Feige, you know, just to get some input. And so there's stuff that's in the works. And for me, like the best part of the movie was the mid-credit scene. I was beaming a huge smile because I knew what that meant possibly. If this movie does well. So
well, and I'm curious too at the Shazam tie-in, at when we will get to see them together, because I mean, it
won't be in the next Shazam movie, that's for sure.
No, it's not going to be the next one, but I hope like the future one, because I mean it's part of that world. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's part of that lore itself, and so to not have them,
it's from those gods. Yeah.
Yeah. So
anyway, 2 minutes went on long. So I just wanted to talk about that. That's it's a big movie. It'd be silly not to talk about it a little bit.
And it is fun. I think it's fun seeing it in the theater because it's big action. It's a lot of slow-mo.
I didn't mind the slow-mo like you. Yeah, I thought it was all right.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, didn't bother me.
It got to be too much for me.
I just walked out the cinema slow-mo. Hey guys.
Nice.
Talking about DC, the best DC I watched was not Black Adam. This week I watched Batman and Superman Battle of the Super Sons, a new animated DC movie. And normally they're pretty good. There's a bit of hit or miss, but this one was great. This one is really good. It basically, if you've seen one of the live action movies in the DC world, the bad guys, what's the name? The Suicide Squad. James Gunn's Suicide Squad. You've kind of seen this movie because it's basically about the main bad guy is Starro. You know, the super kaijin. So it has that. The kaijin comes and controls everybody in the world, and it's up to the Super Sons to win the day, basically. And so they have to team together. So you have you have the Superboy who's just coming into his powers. He's just learning to control them. He's just found out his dad is Superman. So he's really happy. And there's this cute little relationship moments between father and son, which is great. I really like it. It was great. The animation style is like old comic book style. Even the character designs are like chiseled looks. Like they're really leaning back into like, nice. and it worked. Once you get over the animation style, you're like, I know what they're going for. Even the score, it feels like you're listening to an old kind of classic. So they've really doubled down on that. And then you get Batman's son, who is raised by the ninjas, Ra's al Ghul, And so he doesn't play well with others. In fact, he's getting phone calls from the Teen Titans. They're just like, we're not going to have you on the team because basically you suck. And he's like, well, I didn't want to join you guys anyway. And so we have Bat's son and Soup's boy have to figure out their own issues. And when they do, it's really fun. But even seeing them figure out their own issues is fun. But when they start teaming up and fighting adults or adults that have superpowers because they've been taken over, you know, by those starfishes that everybody had in the movie.
That's right, yes.
So you have that in here. And yeah, it was just great. I was like, dang, this is really fun. I think any DC fan that, like, if you collect those animated movies or you watch them, you want to stream it, go for it. You're not going to be sorry you got this one.
Outstanding. Cool. And it's out now? Is it on? What's it on?
Streaming, you can buy it.
Okay.
You can buy it or you can stream it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, another one of those kind of sad ones, heavy ones for me.
Chris just wants all the depression this week.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. But it's a Netflix series, and it's called From Scratch. It's a limited series. It stars Zoe Saldana and
Gamora.
And funny enough, Danielle Deadweiler, who was in Till, who was the star of Till, she's in this movie also, or this series also. It is 8 episodes that are all about an hour long. It is a long watch. It's basically, you have this this woman who's on going to art school, or at least an art trip in Italy. She meets this chef. She falls in love, and then it's following their life together.
Sounds like Emily in Paris.
I haven't seen that. But it's there are devastating moments in this.
Really? I wasn't expecting that from this show.
Well, I thought it was like a rom-com or maybe just a romantic drama.
Yeah.
But it is truly this roller coaster ride of emotions where it did begin to, that was like one of my negatives also, is that the show fell into its own formula of, we can't let our characters be happy for too long.
I hate that.
As soon as something happy happens and things are going great, we introduce a tragedy. And then we get past that, or we're dealing with that, and then we go to another high point, and then immediately we have another low point. And so I had said that it made me dread seeing a happy moment come, because I knew the shoe was going to drop and that it would be, that part of it. But the story, I didn't want to be as sucked into it as I was. And the first episode didn't totally do that to me. But by the middle of the second episode, I was engrossed. And what really rounds this out is because, first off, you have the relationship drama between Amy and Lino, the two central characters. But then what builds around it and really becomes the major focus of the story is family. And so we get to see both Amy's family, which is bigger. It's dramatic, has some issues there, which causes a lot of fun, but also some sadness and just things like that. And then Lino's family, which is very small, and it has its own set of drama within there. And how both of those feed in, but also support. So it has a very real feel to it, which could be a turnoff for some if you're looking for just pure escapism.
Yeah.
But like the show, it takes us on this progression, and as things begin to happen, it does become like there's a predictable arc to it. We know where certain things are going to come, which also sets up a set of a bit of dread or apprehension of, do I want to continue to watch this because I know where it's going? It's still a beautiful execution. From the acting is wonderful. There are some raw moments, especially as we get towards the latter half of the series, that is just, it's devastating to watch. And the actors, wow. are you acting anymore? Or did you draw on something that is just this
Something
bringing
real,
out,
visceral? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And so it's amazing to watch. It really is. And I stayed up way too late to finish out the series because we were hooked on it. But I know that it's a long watch. It's a very heavy watch. And the pace is slow. I mean, we just watch this play out. And that does not mean bad by any means. It just means that it takes its time to really invest us in these relationships and in their dramas and what they're going through, their emotional upheavals. And so when there are high moments, we feel those high moments. And when then there are the low moments, we feel those too. And it is, God, totally worth watching. But I think you have to be in a mindset to do so.
Yeah.
That you have to know what you're in for. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. When I saw this originally and I asked for the screeners, they were like, yeah, sure, no problem. Because I thought it was a movie. And then I saw 8 hours worth and we watched the first hour and I was like, no, I can't do this to myself. I like sleep. So, but it does sound like it was worth it, even though it was a long haul.
Yeah, and it's emotionally draining. Just know that. I mean, it's just, but yeah, it is worth seeing. Just, yeah.
Okay.
With caveats.
A while back, I said to you that one of my favorite Star Trek series is the non-Star Trek series, the Orville. And I'd caught up watching season 2, and then I'd watched the first couple of season 3, which was new. This week, my wife and we watched the rest of the season, and that's up to 10, and it's finished. And if you go and look at the length of each episode, it's like an hour and 20 minutes long. So they're lengthy, especially for sci-fi. Wow. But man, did they get Disney money. Like, wow, the sets are good, the special effects are excellent. But the thing that just blew me away was the stories and themes they were willing to tackle this time. Like I mentioned briefly, I think a couple of weeks ago, where the first one was like the comedy kind of going into the series. And then the second one, it was like trying to feel what they're going to do with the series. Now, we don't have the comedy. Sure, there are lighter moments, and you can't not do that with Seth. But what they tackle is some of the hardest hitting, like Star Trek Generations, the themes they used to do, and they're definitely harking back. There's an episode called Tale of Two Topers. It's basically about a species that look at women as being inferior. In fact, if you have a child and your child is born female, you get an operation to be turned into male. Yeah, they just inferior. And in fact, they try and wipe out almost all females. Yeah, it's how that works. You'll understand when you watch it. Like, how do they exist as a species? Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. That's all explained.
Okay.
But so you're fighting this child's because the story cleverly has been going on for 3 seasons. Like since we first meet the couple, like the 2 males, and then they go through the child, and then they have the child, and then they do the whole like court case of whether they try and win the right to allow the child to be female or whether it has to have the operation. They lost that because of their whole society, so you're watching through gritted teeth as the child has to become male. And then in this season, throughout like bits, you see the child regressing and trying to find its identity, doesn't know what's wrong with it. And you feel it and you get it. And like, so there's eventually some questions like, I want to become a pilot. And she's so drawn to, the female species, but doesn't know why. That's just something inherent about like what's going on, like written on the DNA, right? And so they explore that, and then they're not afraid to explore. That's just one of like the deep thematic themes that they go for. So in amongst the really great special effects, the sci-fi that now has got like big budget, the crazy alien designs that you get, and that's just great. There's literally like a blob that's in engineering that works with everybody, and occasionally will fall through the grating because it's, a blob, and is like the hilarious character. There's like a character that has 3 tongues, and it reminds me of one of the characters from Final Space called Trebor. It's fully embraced the craziness that you could get. The variations of creatures that you can get in space is great. So you have that adventure. So Disney obviously gave them the money to like make this series good. They don't have to adhere to any time. So it's like we get a proper like almost feature every episode. They tackle it until that thing is done. They talk about like social media. They talk about obviously sexual orientation. They talk about identity. They talk about what humans do to each other through showing other species, what other species are doing to each other. And that's what Star Trek was good for. Like when it was good, they used to tackle themes and messages and then make you think. And man, there were times, I kid you not, where we're eating dinner and we're like... and like trying to like swallow back tears and food at the same. You enjoying this? Yeah, I'm enjoying this. So we got to the end, and it had me looking up: is there going to be a season 4? No news yet, but yeah, phenomenal. Like really, really, really good. I never expected this series that was like, this is like Star Trek for people who are missing Star Trek, to ending up being, this is the best damn Star Trek, even though it's not Star Trek. Yeah. Wow.
That's nice. Yeah. Right on. I think I don't know if I even tried it because I wasn't like, I like Star Trek, the original Star Trek. I can't say that I watched the other ones, even though I know there are some good ones, but, Seth MacFarlane, I just wasn't in the mood for in that moment.
No, I get
what I mean? Like,
I see that. And they've really they've taken that Seth MacFarlane kind of humor away
and used it to create social commentary instead.
I mean, it's even renamed. So it's the season 3 is the Orville New Horizons. So they've really embraced it. It's almost like its own thing. Like it's a separate story. Yeah. And it's fantastic. It's really, really good.
Do you think could audiences jump into just season 3? And
I think you could. I mean, you could possibly do the thing where season 1 and 2 wrap up on YouTube, and then those collaborations. Like, remember this will happen, and then jump into 3, and I think you'll pick it up very quickly. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Right on. I don't really have anything else. I mean, I could talk about some other things, but I'm good. I don't know. Do you have any others?
No. I mean, there's stuff that I enjoyed that would be rated up there. The School for Good and Evil, that was phenomenal. I love that. It's like one of the best things I've ever seen. I mean, that is Oscar worthy. They should, put it in the top 100 films to keep in. There's that capsule where they're keeping the top 100 films to protect the integrity of, what is gold. I just think, I was blown away every second. Characters, acting. I could go on, Chris. It's just so good. I was like blown away by the acting. The script and the dialogue was so good. I mean, I had tears.
It was perfect length too, wasn't it?
Sure was.
2.5 hours, yeah. Good Lord. All right.
Okay. Should we talk about something we did enjoy watching?
Yes.
Which was a surprise.
This had no business being as fun as it was.
No, because when I suggested it, I thought Chris could hate me after this, like, because honestly, this franchise doesn't have the best track record. But okay,
yeah, okay. So we watched Final Destination 5. I've seen the first 2, I know. I don't think I've seen 3 or 4. I don't think it's important, though. The premise of all of them is basically the same.
Yeah.
Somebody has some kind of premonition. They cheat death. And so then death comes for them and their friends or whoever escaped death. And there you go. And then you have these Rube Goldberg type of scenarios that create devastation and death. I loved, and I'm not gonna spoil it, but the thing that there's a lot to love in this, but I love this ties into another Final Destination movie at the end. And so it's
in my opinion, we don't need to make any more Final Destination movies.
Correct.
It's the perfect sphere. It's not a great sphere, but it was clever.
Yeah, it was very clever. It was. But okay, so the reason you watch these, I mean, think back to I think it's Final Destination 2, why all of us who have seen that movie, if you ever get behind a logging truck, you instantly move lanes.
You were like, I've seen that movie. I know what happens next.
Exactly. So we watch these to see the crazy kills. And this movie delivers some crazy kills.
There's some great kills in this, honestly.
The one that you... I don't want to talk about it because it's like a 5-minute setup though.
Yeah.
I mean, it is really long.
It's really tense though. I was like, no, don't do that thing. And then it reminded me of another movie, and I don't want to say what that movie is because there's a tense moment from a movie that has little dialogue. It's very quiet. And there's a moment that I was like, oh no, I see where this is going. And then it doesn't do that and does something else. And then you think it's going to do that one thing, and then it doesn't do that and it does something else. And you're like, what's going to happen?
It does, like, you think that the setup is, oh, I know what this is going to do. And it keeps showing us different elements within this setting. And you're like, oh, well, this is going to happen. And then it's going to cause this and it's going to cause that. And then it's like, oh, no, wait, that didn't happen. So wait. Oh, now it's going to be this. And when it happens, I chortled out loud. I was like, oh, I couldn't help it because it was so unexpected, and yet the death was expected. It just wasn't.
See, I have a love-hate with the relationship with these movies because I'm with my wife. She says, these movies are terrible because you want to root for someone and know that there's a possibility that you might survive. But in these movies, they're like, yeah, but you cheated death, so you're never going to survive. and you're like, so then who are you rooting for? So I have a theory about all of these movies, Chris. I think, and maybe the writers just secretly aren't telling us this, but I think it's not that they've cheated death. I think that death is bored. And he gives the premonition to someone so that he can then play legally. There must be loopholes and rules that he has to play with. So they got away and he has to take care of them. So then he has some fun with it. Because, you're always taking souls and, they're so boring. You've done it millions and millions. Like, let's have some fun. So every now and again, I reckon these are historical documents and this is actually what happened. Yeah.
I like it. Well, I like it from that viewpoint. That works. In this movie, I mean, don't get us wrong. I mean, it was very tense. I mean, I was actually very invested in it, despite there being some terrible acting, some characters that you just.
There was a character that I really, really, really wanted to die.
Oh my gosh!
The most sexist douchebag in the world.
And I don't think that he got the full justice.
No.
I think we were cheated a little bit.
I feel that too.
Yeah, it
compared to some of the others, dang.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. This still deserved to die. But yeah, no, you're right. I mean, from the very get-go, we never liked this person. I mean, this person is always just a terrible, terrible person. But even some of the acting was just kind of like, I don't like you in this role, but whatever, I
recommend doing watch-alongs with these movies because we almost did a watch-along, and I'm sending you emojis, but clever emojis as to how the person died, and you get it after, sending a giant smiley face, but you're like, that doesn't make any sense, and then you're like, all right.
I think, I agree. These are great movies to watch along with people because it's still that shared experience.
Yeah.
And because it's not a serious type of horror, but it's it's gory It is like there's blood there. It's just blah, and the creativity, I think, is really what really comes into play there.
Yeah.
And how are they going to set this up? And then how are they going to get past our expectations and flip it on its head so it's not something that we saw coming? I mean, we see the death. We know that. That's not it's how they did it and the creativity within that.
We drove to our fancy cinema that's not closest to us to watch Black Adam this week. And on the way there, we have a little like highway stretch. It's a small, and then we get onto like side streets and stuff. But there was a truck next to us that had probably about 20 gas canisters, all the nozzles facing me. And I was like, you see that, right? You're going to change lanes, right? And I'm sure that for everybody, like whoever's seen Final Destination movies, like, I'm not chancing fate this way. No.
No. The truck with all the rebar in it. I gotta go.
My gosh. There's no way. Or trucks with like glass plates. Like, it's just slow down. Let it go. We can be a few minutes late.
Yes, exactly. Oh, it's so funny. So I don't know. Have you seen, how many of the Final Destination movies have you seen?
I think I've seen them all now. I think.
Oh, okay.
But it's been like really long time, like when they originally came out, and that'd be the only time I'd watch them. I wouldn't go back and watch them again. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do remember seeing 1 and 2, like in bits and pieces. I remember, little bits of that. And so I think, I mean, you're absolutely correct. The sphere that this creates is really brilliant. I mean, the way that they,
clever.
yeah. So, if you've never seen Final Destination 5, I mean, and you like just silly kills, but in creative ways, then I mean, this is a good one. It was well worth the time, and it again, it had tense moments to it.
Really did.
Like I was anxious as it was built up, and it had no business being that way, but it executed it well. Cool.
Just had a flash of a certain person die. It was really gory. It made me go, oh no.
Oh, there was,
If there's things that like you can't handle, like there's certain parts of body parts that you're like, don't let it be this, and then it becomes that. You get some of that in this movie. Which I was like, that's the reason I don't go to these places.
That was a tough one to watch. It was like, and it didn't end how I thought it was going to either. That was the other thing.
That's why I sent you the emoji of the actual thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. A lot of fun.
Oh, funny. Yeah. Yes. Good. Cool. All right. Well, hey, we've reached the end of the video segment. You can always head over wherever you happen to listen to podcasts. We are there. You can just search for The Best Thing We Watched This Week. If you do happen to check us out there, please rate and review us because that really helps out the podcast area. We're going to be tackling entertainment news, a lot of the things that we're looking forward to that are coming up this week. You can always tweet at us at Best We Watched. We'd love to have you there. Continuing that conversation. Like, share, subscribe our individual videos. That also helps out a great deal. Ruben with the Ruby Tuesday. Me, Chris, with Movies and Munchies. We have a Patreon opportunity. Patreon.com/thebeardedones. And,
I highly recommend if you're going to watch Black Adam, get your hands on the comic. It's like a prequel.
Oh, that's cool. Gives some background there.
Some background. A lot of background to Hawkman, actually. Or
Hawkman,
nice.
Which we were missing in the movie.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you. Carry on.
No, you're all good. That's a cool little. Is it a comic book? Is that what it is, or is it a
comic
like
book,
a book?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, it's a comic book.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Right on. Well, we've linked everything in the description along with time codes too. But if you've reached the end, you've probably already seen the time codes, and there's not really any reason for them. But that's okay. We still put them there. With that, hey, we'll see you next week. Take care.